for being here today, but more importantly, thank you for all that you've done this past year. I can tell you, up in the House, we are 80 votes short when we start any issue. The only reason we're in the fight against this national health care plan is because of you. You've leveled the playing field since last August. If you remember, they had the time line. If you recall, the president, the first thing he said as president was, we're going to pass this national health care plan. You know, they started in the spring. They said we're going to have the deadline done by July because we don't want members of Congress going back to their districts in August. Well, they heard from you in a huge way all across this country. Then they said we need to pass it by Thanksgiving because we don't want members of Congress going back for the Thanksgiving break to hear from you. But you blocked it then. And throughout Christmas was the deadline, and then it was early February, and now they want to push it through by Easter. This next week is critical because over the objection of the American public, Speaker Pelosi is determined to push through the back door, this national takeover of our healthcare system. Ooh. And the only thing standing between them and their goal, in my mind, is you. Is you. We're going to fight this. Let me just say, there are so many versions of this bill, and I checked on the drive over if we'd gotten the latest version from them. But I can tell you, at every step, it has gotten worse. You remember the House bill, more than 100 mandates, all the bureaucracy between you and your doctor, the health care czar, billions of dollars in new tax increases, billions of dollars of cuts to Medicare, government agencies in between you and your doctor, debt that we can't possibly hope to pay for in our lifetime. It got worse in the Senate. There's the chart for the Senate bill right there, which we literally could not fit all the new mandates and programs onto that. Now they've moved on to yet another bill that I can't tell you about because no one has seen it. No one in America has seen it yet. On Monday, the Budget Committee, they're bringing the Budget Committee back, and they're going to start voting on the reconciliation, the back door of how to get this through and circumvent the will of the American public. On Monday, the Budget Committee is going to take this up, supposedly 24 hours of notice that the public will be able to see it. Sarah, when we get that link, can we e-newsletter, email that out to everyone and get it to Julie and Suzanne as well, so that the second we get it, you get it as well. Monday, the Budget Committee is going to meet. We believe they will pass that out that day. It takes 48 hours of layover. It'll go to the Rules Committee and get changed there for the final push. And then I think they're going to shoot for a vote Thursday or Friday on this bill. As you know, the President's backed off his international trip in order to pressure more House Democrats on this bill. So we really are at a critical juncture in healthcare again. We have been before, we are again. We know what the fight is. We're going to take the fight to them on this bill. Couple of thoughts. Reconciliation really is circumventing the public will. It has been used before, but as on things that actually were supported by the American public, the Balanced Budget Act of 1997, the Deficit Reduction Act, President Bush's tax cuts, bills that had overwhelming public support. It's never been used to circumvent the public will. Today, as we sit here, more than half of Americans strongly oppose this health care bill. 78% believe it will raise their taxes, and they're right on that. An equal number believe Congress ought to go back to the drawing board and sit and focus first on lowering the cost of health care. Not in these bills, there's one philosophy. Raise the price of health care on those who have it to pay for those who don't. And that is the philosophy of all this. And put government squarely in the driver's seat for those health care decisions in the future. I mean, it is a simple architecture. It is powerful, and it will change our country, in my view, forever. Forever. That's why there's so much at stake in this. And again, it has not gotten better at any step in this process. It's gotten worse. And what's interesting is this week, the President gave his 52nd Townhall meeting on health care. 2 State of the Union speeches. They pulled out the plugs. We get calls from, what's the group?
Organizing for America.
We get Planned Parenthood, Organizing for America, MoveOn.com. They've got all their engines running, and the more the public knows about the bill, Amy, the less they like it. And this is not a case, the President actually believes, and I think Democrats in Congress, that they know what's best for us. That if they can just talk to us more, you'll finally come around, Mike. Well, no at all. Yeah, we'll talk to Mary Wise, she knows. But the point is that they are not listening. They have an agenda that I think is an extreme one. I know it is an extreme one. And healthcare is really the most critical part. So in this next week, here's what we are up against. They need 260 votes to pass this bill in the House. They got 220 for the last go-round, but 4 members have now retired, or in the case of Eric Massa, have disintegrated. If you have a clue what is happening in that guy's mind, please let me know. You're the first. Man. You know, I'm not even going to make the joke that came to my mind. Okay. But they're down to 260. They've decided to blow past the pro-life Democrats. They've just said, we're not going to fix it for you. You just need to vote for it. That group started out as almost 60 pro-life Democrats. More recently, got down to 12 pro-life Democrats. But they're starting to pick them off. Right now, we know Bart Stupak's count. He still believes they're close to 12. Right now, we have 4 that have said absolutely no, that are standing their ground. And let me remind you what the pro-life group said about the Senate bill that they're going to vote on first, and they're not changing. They said anyone who votes for that has permanently forfeited their pro-life credentials. Permanently forfeited their pro-life credentials. So, for these people to change at this point, I think is unconscionable. The pressure is dramatic upon them. That's one of the key groups we're working hard to shore up back in their districts. Those of us who are tied in and support of pro-life efforts throughout the country, those are our targets. To keep the no votes, the no vote. Then, to blow through them, they're going to have to turn around some of those 37 other no votes that are still out there. Suzanne, we've been visiting with Suzanne and Julie Mellers about the list. Have you got it here? Right there. That's the group that they're pushing and working hard. That's the only way they can get to 216 votes is to switch their votes. And I can tell you, at every step in the way, I don't know how any member of Congress who voted no on the House bill there can possibly vote on the Senate bill plus worse. I don't know how you go back home and tell people I've made this better for you, or that I have upheld my principles in it. It's impossible to do. It's impossible to do. But that's what the big push is for this next week. That's why we need everyone in this room engaged on that list, thinking about the friends and family and co-workers in those states and districts in order to remind them the reason they voted no is even more important today than it was when it first went through the House. And that we talked a minute ago on the way in.